Hey everybody, Pastor Brendan Witten here. We are back once again, 2020, fast forward, day 19. You are almost at the finish line. You are so close. Just keep going strong. You got one more day after today to go. And so as you know, our focus in this time has really been seeking God and listening to God and hearing from Him in the area of destiny, purpose, and calling for what He has for us in our lives in this coming year, but really this coming decade and beyond. I really believe in this time it was like a window that God wanted to open up where He said, I want to talk to you, not just about the coming year, but about the coming decade and beyond. I want to talk to you about destiny. I want to talk to you about your purpose. I want to talk to you about your calling. We want to be people of holy ambition who have a heart for the purposes of God in our generation. We're not just living for ourselves. We're not just living for comfort or ease or for pleasure, but we're living for something much higher. We're living for our King and we're living for His kingdom. And so that's really what this time and focus has been on. Every day I've been coming with a verse just to encourage you and challenge you to build your faith up as you seek God. And today I want to, again, jump back into the Old Testament. We've been going there a little more often the last couple of days. And I want to talk to you about another Bible character, another story. And so this is going to go from Genesis 25. And it's talking about Jacob and Esau. Now a little bit of context. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau were the sons of Isaac. Isaac was the son of Abraham. So this was a very important family line and a very important family destiny because God had told Abraham, through you all nations of the earth will be blessed. And He gave him a supernatural son, Isaac. So Isaac then had his sons here in Jacob, and he had Jacob and Esau. And so these were his sons that he had here. And so the problem was there was a lot of competition between these sons. And we're going to see a little bit of this in this picture here. Esau was the older one, so he was the one who ultimately was going to inherit the birthright and the blessing. Jacob was the younger one. But in Genesis 25, verse 29, we see here that once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted. Therefore his name was called Edom, the red stew. Edom means red. But Jacob said, sell me your birthright now. Esau said, I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? Jacob said, swear it to me. And so he swore it to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. And thus, watch this, thus Esau despised his birthright. Now let me just backtrack a little bit again to focus on the context. In this biblical context, in this biblical time, the birthright was really important. The birthright was the right of birth as the firstborn son, and the majority of the inheritance of your father would come to you. This was his birthright, and this was his blessing. It was considered an incredible honor. And so the fact that Esau would even consider trading it for a bowl of stew is frankly quite ridiculous. But what it shows about, and it shows what it talks about here, that Esau actually despised his birthright. He didn't care about it. He for whatever reason, the Bible doesn't go into all the details, he was very just lackadaisical. He's like, whatever. I don't really care about my birthright. Or maybe in that he just thought, oh, well, Jacob's asking for this. I'll backtrack on it later. But he didn't value and honor the birthright that had been entrusted to him. He treated it cheaply. And he was willing to trade it, this birthright, this incredible honor, for a simple bowl of soup. Now, before we get too hard on Esau about this, I want to challenge you and challenge myself that we are actually prone to the same behavior without realizing it. Yet it's not with a natural birthright in a bowl of soup, but it's with an even greater birthright. It's the destiny and purpose and calling that God has for our lives. It's with the things of God. And so often we will take all that God has for us and we'll trade it so cheaply for something that could be akin to a bowl of soup. So here's the question I want you to think about today. What's the bowl of soup for you? What is the bowl of soup, even as we're going to come out of this time of prayer and fasting, what is the bowl of soup the enemy will present to you and say, hey, take this instead of calling purpose and destiny? Because it's tough and it's challenging and so on, but what's the bowl of soup? Is it going to be comfort? Is it maybe a hidden sin that's still kind of hanging around in your life? Is it the praises of men? If I really go after the purposes of God and go after the destiny God has for me, people are going to criticize me. Whatever it is, I really want to encourage you. Compared to the destiny, purpose, and calling, compared to the purposes of God in our generation, it's nothing more than like just a bowl of stew. And make a commitment, make a decision. I'm not going to trade it. I am not going to trade all that God has for me for this. And so I really want to encourage you in that. Reflect on that and take some time today and ask God to show you, Lord, what are the bowls of soup that tend to trip me up? You know, it's interesting. Judas was Jesus' disciple. He walked with him. He was with him for 3 years. He witnessed his miracles. He was one of his closest team members, and yet he sold him out for 30 pieces of silver. Again, we're really hard on Judas, and in some ways rightfully so. But how often do we sell out what Jesus has for us? So it has for 30 pieces of silver, like nothing. Make a decision. I am going to value, I'm going to cherish my inheritance, my birthright, what God has for me, and I am not going to trade it for anything. But I'm going to push through, and I'm going to walk it out, and I'm going to see the purposes of God established. Amen? So awesome. It's been really good to be with you again today. We got one more day tomorrow. Finish strong. I look forward to see you there. You're doing awesome. Congratulations. We're almost there. See you tomorrow.